5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tom Whittaker, welcome to the Breakdown Podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matt.
You're building something really interesting. It involves two letters that everyone's talking about. It's A and I. We're going to talk about that in a moment. It's everyone's favorite topic. It's one of my favorite topics, although I pushed against that grain for quite some time. But we're going to signpost that for a moment, put that down the road a little bit. For folks who are uninitiated, what does Tom Whittaker do on a day-to-day basis in the world of WordPress?
Sure. Well, I guess it goes back. My experience in WordPress goes back to about 2014. I was building websites, just like a lot of folks. I was building one-off websites for a variety of different clients. I actually had a client at the time that was in the construction business, and I ended up building a health and safety management application for them. It was, when I say application, it's kind of misleading because what it really was a Gravity form. I started using Gravity forms in my site design business, and when this construction client came to me and said they were interested in using an online form to collect some information about health and safety, I immediately thought about Gravity forms. So the very, very first prototype of our app was a one-page responsive website with a Gravity form on it. And that was way back in mid-2014. Fast forward to 2022, and we had become the largest health and safety management application in the roofing industry in the United States, as well as a bunch of other trades from HVAC to electrical, mechanical, concrete contractors, small general contractors, you name it. And I ended up selling that company to a larger software company in May of 2022. So since then, haven't been doing a ton in WordPress, sort of took some time away. But my former CTO and I are still passionate about the WordPress community. And we've been passionate about AI. And we've been looking for ways to apply AI within the WordPress ecosystem. And Gravity Forms was a favorite of ours, and we wanted to see how we could do that. And so we're launching a new company called GravityBuilder.ai, which is a premium add-on for Gravity Forms.
That's fantastic. I'm really interested. I was a former agency owner for about a decade, really interested in the space. I'm wondering if you can remember and maybe paint the picture of what it was like to make the leap from, well, if this is true, were you building websites for these contractors and roofing agencies, and then you realize, you know what, maybe the money is in like a more unique piece of software? And if that was the case, can you illustrate what that was like for you to make that transition?
I was actually not building websites for construction companies at all. This was my only construction client at the time. I was building websites for, I did one for a restaurant, I did one for a health club, a golf academy, bed and breakfast places. I had done a bunch of different things in the website design space, but I wasn't really thinking about building software. However, when we used Gravity Forms to build this application for this construction client, a little light bulb went off for us. And we thought, well, if this construction company is struggling with this problem of health and safety, maybe lots of construction companies suffer from that same problem. And I took a pretty analytical approach to it. I actually started just attending construction industry events whenever I could, both in my local area, which is Toronto, and in the United States. And whenever I told somebody what I had built for my other client, they were like, here's my card. I love what you're doing. I'll buy it. And so that's when I really had the confidence to say, okay, let's turn this into a product. Let's see how far we can take it.
Yeah. I've had another guest on the Breakdown podcast, and his agency is getting into, I think he was just focused on roofing contractors, and he sort of we went down that path, and I'll link up that episode in the show notes because it's fantastic.
I've listened to it, Matt.
And I love that path of focusing. We're really wide. We're going after contractors. That's too wide. right? And then it's like, I'm going roofing. And then I'm going HVAC and roofing because I've dominated the roofing market or whatever that particular market was that he was in. You know, I do love the agency game. Sometimes I think back and I'm like, man, I would love to start another agency again. But like now that I know what I know about like how to do this thing, but I also I remember that sometimes agencies are just one paycheck away from bankruptcy, and I don't want to live that life again. So, the software route is a lot better.
It's an interesting change. Now, I didn't actually make, I would call myself, at the time, I would have called myself a developer, not a software engineer. And so we used WordPress and Gravity Forms in a lot of our projects because obviously it was a quick way for us to deliver high quality sites to clients and high quality online forms to clients. And because of my technical limitations, I didn't actually have a way to move off of WordPress and Gravity Forms for our software business. And so the entire software stack from the day we started to the day I sold the company was based on WordPress and Gravity Forms. And we would build an incredible amount of custom forms for our construction company clients to use in the health and safety space. And that's actually where the idea, when we sold the company and we were looking at ways to apply AI, one of the problems that we experienced as a company was that we were building a lot of forms using Gravity Forms, and it's time consuming. You know, you take a form that exists somewhere else in the world, and as good as the drag and drop editor is, and it's amazing, by the way, and we were so grateful to have it at the time. But as great as it is, it still takes a lot of time, and it takes a human to be in that chain to transfer that information into Gravity Forms. And then, when it comes to things like templates don't get our clients to where they always need to be. So then there's modifications and edits and round of feedback back and forth with the client, and all of that takes time. We wanted to apply AI to that problem, and it's doing extremely well via Gravity Builder.
Before we start getting into the nuts and bolts of Gravity Builder and how you're using it, why do you think your company was so successful in the space that you're in? Was it because there was no other solution out there, or were the solutions so convoluted because they were legacy, monolithic, they were old pieces of software? Why do you think you were winning, or did it just simply come down to like sales and packaging?
It's a combination of a few things. Yeah, it's a combination of a few of those things. Certainly, there were other solutions out there for health and safety in the construction space. I would lump them into three buckets. I would lump them into big legacy softwares, sort of newer SaaS offerings, and then really entry level, app store. I would call them app store apps, and we sort of fit right in the middle of that group. We had a very good product that would work on any device, that was designed well, that delivered features that clients wanted. And, really, Matt, like I tell this all the time now that I'm mentoring other entrepreneurs, like a lot of it was just luck and timing. In the construction space, there had been a move to adopt more software to mitigate problems with, lack of labor and high costs and this type of thing. And we were just able to take advantage of that. And then COVID, we launched in 2015. We had achieved a level of success by 2019, 2020. And then COVID, was a global health and safety crisis, and we were in the health and safety market. So, I'm not one of these entrepreneurs that would say like, oh, I'm a genius and I did all these crazy things. It was really just luck, perseverance, timing, and a great product. We did have a great product.
For the listener who hears that you've built this software, let's call it software, out of WordPress and Gravity Forms, was it end-to-end WordPress and Gravity Forms, or was it just a little piece of it? In other words, was your customer able to just go to your WordPress site, sign up and interact with everything, and it was all there thanks to WordPress and Gravity Forms, or was there like some kind of custom wrapper, some kind of custom experience that you had to extend for the customer?
Initially, it was end-to-end WordPress and Gravity Forms. As we achieved a certain scale, it became apparent that the front end was not doing everything we needed it to do. And so we actually went and rebuilt the front end of our product in using the WP GraphQL project that was spearheaded by Jason Ball, a brilliant developer in the WordPress ecosystem. We used WP GraphQL to extend WordPress to a JavaScript application in the front end. And because we used Gravity Forms so heavily, we actually started our own open source project called WP GraphQL for Gravity Forms, in which we extend the Gravity Forms schema into the WP GraphQL API so that we could get both WordPress content and Gravity Forms content back and forth to our JavaScript front end.
Having been in the space a few years ago and sort of not paying attention to WordPress since maybe you sold the company and maybe when you were initially developing the idea and you were sent in a different direction, do you have a comparison of like what WordPress was like for you back then to where it is today? Is there something here that you're looking at going, wow, this is great, or yeesh, they should have caught up with this by now? Like, what's your take on WordPress these days as we're like near weeks away from 2025?
Yeah, I mean, WordPress has continued to evolve. I think there's a lot of utility in WordPress itself. I think the project has added some really, really important things. You know, when we first started using WordPress, the REST API was not in core. It was still in the plugin development stage. You know, the WP GraphQL project didn't exist. The Gutenberg project was external. I think it had been started, but wasn't internal to WordPress, the block editor. Full site editing was a dream. There was none of that stuff was out there. So to see that now, I think WordPress, continues to be, and rightfully so, the default choice for building websites on the web. I think there are some challenges, politically and otherwise, in the WordPress space going on that will eventually sort themselves out. But the product itself works great. Gravity Forms specifically, we've been incredibly happy with the evolution of Gravity Forms as a project because beginning with improvements to the drag and drop editor, how data is stored, the add-on ecosystem, the certified developer program, it's become easier and easier to do more and more things with Gravity Forms. And so, on the whole, I think everything's moving in the right direction. And it's why when, we talk about agencies having that broad focus and, if we're doing everything, are we really doing anything? And one of the reasons why we decided to apply AI technology back into the WordPress sphere and Gravity Forms specifically was because we were using AI we had this AI technology that we could have done anything, but we really wanted to find something narrow to focus on, and that's what brought us back in. And I'm happy to be back, and I love the people and attending WordCamps and talking at events and interacting with all of my old friends.
I'm often the guy that talks to the end user, the Gravity Forms customer, who is really upset that we don't have feature X or feature Y, and like, where is this thing? And look at the competitive landscape, and maybe some of the competitors have stuff that this particular person is asking for. As long as they're even keeled and level-headed when they're voicing these complaints, I'll happily get on a call and really explore what it is that they're looking for. And what I've found is we've been able to lean into the certified developer program and like the crazy ecosystem that Gravity Forms has of third-party developers, whether you're a certified developer or you're just making these add-ons and making them freely available to Gravity Forms customers. The ecosystem is unlike any other contact form plugin. And at the end of the day, when I have those conversations, people are like, well, Gravity Forms, I'm paying $200 a year or $229, whatever our elite license plan is. But they're building like complete apps like you are, right? And potentially some of them making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, let alone like a year off of this stuff. And I sort of have to like laugh at that. But when you combine, let's say, the core price of Gravity Forms and you bring in like a certified developer price point, right, for whichever one of our pool of certified developers you pick from, another few $100s a year, and you combine those two, the value that one gets Even from to maybe as we talk about your product and bringing in that pricing, the value one gets of what they can do with that compared to our competitors, it's just night and day, right? It's just like ridiculously more valuable to buy like Gravity Forms Core and another certified developer license, combine them. You can't compete with our competitors at their highest tier, which is more expensive than us in some cases. It's an interesting dilemma that we're in. It's a good and bad, right? Customers look at us, they go, oh, I got to go buy this other thing over here. Yeah, but when you go buy that thing over there, you're getting a ton more stuff than Gravity Forms would ever give you from the core. Like, rely on us from the core and then leverage our ecosystem. No real question there, but I wonder if you witnessed that from the outside looking in.
I mean, I'll tell you exactly. Before we started the WP GraphQL for Gravity Forms project, we thoroughly investigated if we were going to continue to use Gravity Forms. And we looked at a bunch of other form building, form powered libraries out there that we might be able to use, maybe extend the form building capability outside of the WordPress backend into our JavaScript environment front end. And not only did we not find something that worked as well as Gravity Forms, everything we did find was an order of magnitude more expensive, which would have crippled, decimated our business. I mean, I truthfully believe Gravity Forms as a company doesn't charge enough for what it offers. Now, I'm happy to pay what you're currently asking.
Hold on, Tom. Let me write that down and send this email to Carl right now. Charge more. Send.
Yeah. But yeah, we really went down we went far and wide looking for something that we could use that might be better. And, we really took an unbiased look at it. But at the end of the day, the economics just did not work as well as the functionality. So we stayed with Gravity Forms. We started the WP GraphQL project for Gravity Forms. A really brilliant developer named David Levine came on to manage the project for us. And he continues to shepherd that project today. And people are still using decoupled Gravity Forms in their decoupled WordPress websites because of that open source add-on for Gravity Forms.
So let's talk about Gravity Builder. How did you get the band back together? You're sitting around, you're like, I'm getting bored here. We're headed into 2025. Why start this? Why now?
Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of different things. I stayed, after the sale of my company, I stayed on for about 8 months just to oversee the transition of my employees and product and everything else. Around the end of 2022, I decided to take my leave from the new owners. I really didn't do anything for a while, sort of did some consulting on the side and live life. My former CTO, he stayed on with the new owners for about another year. And when he was getting ready to leave, I said, listen, let's do something together again. We were a very good team at Harness Software. I sort of take the lead on product design, requirements gathering. I'm the face of our product and service. And my partner, Sean Campbell, is the technical lead on everything we do and makes the technical decisions. And we work very, very well together. So it was just a natural fit for us to try to do something together again. We initially were going to apply AI technology to the construction industry in some broad way. We developed a product to do that. We were in the beta testing phase this past summer with some clients. And the feedback that kept coming back was, it's too broad. We don't know what to do with it, and we still may pursue a vertical product for AI, for our AI platform in the future, but we decided let's find something narrow that we can focus on. I had seen some recent AI developments in the WordPress space, and we took another look and took another look at Gravity Forms specifically and said, could we make the form building experience, could we unite some of the knowledge that's sort of in different places out there for Gravity Forms right now to make the experience even better for Gravity Forms users? And very, very quickly, we were able to cobble together a product that we're calling GravityBuilder.ai. It's an add-on that can be put onto any Gravity Forms installation and currently allows you to do two things. You can build a form from a prompt. So you can say, I want to build this form. Or you can upload a document example, so a Word document, PDF document, or even an image and have the AI construct a Gravity form from that document, or a combination of both. You could say, here's a document, take these fields out of it and generate a form, and it will do that for you within seconds. So we're really excited about how it can transform, accelerate, and enhance the form building experience for both agencies and site owners.
The website is GravityBuilder.ai. For the last, couple of months, well, I'll take a step back. So like when consumer AI started coming out, and by consumer AI, I mean like ChatGPT, Claude, a lot of this stuff started, making the rounds. And I think even before ChatGPT got really big, you saw some of this stuff at least in the marketing space, which usually is the first one to come out with something and then the first one to die, right? Like they're the first ones to release technology and then the first ones to get consumed by it. And like content writing was certainly one of those things. You had Jasper AI. I don't know where they're at these days. I have no horse in that race, but I saw it. I was like, I'm not going to use this thing for writing AI. And then ChatGPT and Claude started getting a little bit more prominent. And I was just real skeptical. Still have some skepticism, but over the last couple of months, I started diving into using it as a way to code and build these little apps. And where I'm going with this is I have a newfound respect for WordPress as what one might call a monolithic app. It certainly gets that label just for its age, right? 20 years, right? It is just a big monolithic app. But what I found initially with AI was, damn, this is nice. Like I can build something super quick. And this is like, I never could do this, right? In this language, coding language that I choose to have AI write in. Like I could not do this. But what I found was after I build it, no one's thinking about that piece of code I wrote. I'm certainly not, right? Like I don't know how to secure it. I don't know how to maintain it. I don't know how to keep this thing moving forward. Whereas WordPress and Gravity forms, one might say, you can just make a form with AI. Well, certainly, but you're not going to have like this breadth of knowledge from a team who's going to keep maintaining it and iterating on it and moving it forward. That's a long way of me getting to like, never trusted AI, and now I trust it a lot more, but I still have some skepticism. I'll always keep that little asterisk there. Obviously, you're all in with AI, but how do you build trust? How did you convince yourself to use something like this or leverage something like this?
Yeah, I mean, the AI technology has been evolving very, very rapidly for the last couple of years. Certainly, even in our early tests of Gravity Builder, getting it to return the right fields with the right configuration was a challenge. It took a considerable amount of time for us to teach the AI exactly what it needed to do. We still tell people, AI can make mistakes, but in our, call it thousands of tests at this point, maybe tens of thousands of tests, we are achieving a level of success. And when I say success, I mean the right format in terms of how the form is actually configured, the right fields with the right choices, with the right conditional logic, with the right required, not required, all of these types of criteria. Our AI is doing an incredible job at creating whatever we ask it to. And so we felt comfortable launching it as a product in its current state. And it's only going to continue to get better. I mean, the more that we experience usage on the system, we're not using direct user queries to do training, but we will understand what users are building and we can incorporate that into our product development lifecycle so that the system gets better over time. Just this past week, I mean, things like conditional logic was incorporated into the product, multi-language support. So if you're an agency and you need to build forms in multiple languages, say it and the AI will do it for you. And a number of other things that are really exciting are still coming down the pipe. So it's got to the point where I wouldn't launch it as a product unless I was comfortable using it myself. And I did that for a period of time. Asked it to build all kinds of different things from construction forms to contact forms to, puppy adoption questionnaires, a bunch of different things to see how it would do. And once I was satisfied with the results, we decided to launch as a product.
Did you take the typical approach where you have some beta clients or customers already actively using it? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, a few dozen of our sort of trusted friends and colleagues gave it a shakedown for us. We just wanted to make sure that there was stuff, there's always things outside. When you're really close to it, there's always the things outside of you just don't see things. It's like seeing an extra word in a sentence when you're reading something. And that's been really beneficial. I actually wanted to give a shout out to David Smith over at GravityWiz, who was an early sort of supporter for us and gave some just amazing feedback on the product that we've been working on diligently to incorporate. So, just a specific shout out there. But always with any product, and we did that in our old software business as well. We had trusted clients that we would roll out beta features to before anybody else to get feedback. That's just a sort of product management best practice that I always want to adhere to.
This is my own greedy question here, but what's your tips and tricks to actually get people to engage with you in that beta stage? I have found where you give out the betas and you send it out and you say, hey, please give me the feedback, and I never hear anything. You got any tips for me to get people to respond to me?
Well, I mean, if they've agreed, first of all, get permission up front, right? If they want to be part of that project, that initiative, make sure that you get their blessing up front. And then, don't be afraid to be a little bit pushy, right? Come back to your friends and say, hey, have you had a chance to look at this? I really value your feedback. Make them feel important and part of the process, and people will tend to carve out some time.
Yeah, for sure. Tom Whittaker, this has been amazing. I'm super excited to dive into it. I heard I'll be getting a release license fairly soon, so I can dive in and maybe even put some stuff up on our YouTube channel or our social medias. GravityBuilder.ai. You can go check it out. GravityBuilder.ai. Punch that into your browser. That'll bring it up. Tom, anywhere else you want folks to go to say thanks?
No, that's it. Yeah, GravityBuilder.ai. Love to see lots of people playing with the tool and submitting feedback and see where we can take it.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Thanks for hanging out today.
Thanks, Matt.
That's it for today's episode. If you could do one more thing for me today, share this episode on social media, your favorite Facebook group or Discord channel. Spread the word about this podcast. It really helps. If you haven't added Breakdown to your favorite podcast app, point your browser to gravityforms.com/breakdown and click the icon of your app to add us and listen to us every 2 weeks. Okay, we'll see you in the next episode.